The galaxy believed humans were a myth, stories told to frighten children. But when a distress signal was received from the edge of the universe, the truth came crashing back to reality. Humans were real, and they were far more dangerous than anyone had ever imagined. The legends of the galaxy had spoken of humans as though they were nothing more than shadows lost in time. Tales passed down by ancient civilizations to keep the young from wandering into the darker regions of space. Stories that painted humans as cunning, resilient, and terrifyingly adaptable. They were said to be a species capable of reshaping entire star systems, leaving their mark on history before vanishing into oblivion. Yet, like all myths, their existence had faded into nothing but rumor and bedtime stories. And then, one day, the galaxy received a call from the past. In the uncharted regions of the Andromeda Expanse, an old research vessel named the Astral Gaze was scanning the periphery of known space. It was a routine mission mapping stars, investigating odd signals, and updating star charts. The crew on board was seasoned, explorers who had ventured far beyond the bounds of the familiar. Captain Zarek Thorne had led them through black holes and supernovas, navigated the treacherous nebulae, and uncovered secrets hidden in the vast expanse of space. But nothing had prepared them for what they would encounter on this mission. "Captain, I've picked up something," Lyra, the ship's chief communications officer, announced, her voice tinged with disbelief. She tapped furiously on the holographic interface, her eyes wide as lines of data streamed past. "What is it?" Zarek moved closer, his rugged face etched with the marks of countless space voyages. He peered at the screen, feeling a knot form in his stomach. "It's a signal," Lyra replied, her hands trembling slightly. "An ancient distress call. The coding is unlike anything in our databases, but, Captain, it's using a pattern reminiscent of old human languages." The bridge of the Astral Gaze fell silent. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Humans. The very word carried weight, an echo of ancient tales that had become almost taboo to discuss. Humans, they believed, were nothing more than a myth. "Run a cross-check," Zarek ordered, his voice steady despite the tension thickening the air. "See if there's any record of this signal." Lyra nodded, her fingers flying across the console. Moments stretched into minutes as they waited. Then the results flashed on the screen. "No match in the galactic database," Lyra muttered. "But the frequency, it's similar to signals we've only ever seen in the oldest records, predating the Federation. If this is real, then—" Zarek straightened, his eyes hardening with resolve. "Set course for the coordinates." The crew hesitated, knowing the risks of venturing into uncharted space, particularly the sector known as the Forbidden Void. But they were explorers, driven by curiosity and the pursuit of truth. With a grim nod, the Astral Gaze altered its trajectory and plunged into the darkness. As they approached the edge of the void, the stars around them seemed to dim, the blackness swallowing the light. The ship's advanced sensors flickered, struggling to make sense of the anomaly before them. Zarek stood on the bridge, eyes locked on the forward view. His instincts screamed that they were crossing a boundary that few had ever dared to. And then they saw it, a hulking shadow looming out of the void. The derelict spacecraft drifted in the abyss, its form scarred by time and battles long forgotten. It was massive, its hull covered in strange symbols and markings that glowed faintly in the darkness. The crew gasped at the sight. The design was unlike any known in the current galaxy. It had a stark, utilitarian appearance, as if built for war rather than exploration. "Magnify," Zarek commanded, his heart racing. The view zoomed in, revealing more details. The hull bore ancient insignia, ones that matched the fragmented records of humanity. It was a human ship. This is impossible," Lyra whispered. "Humans are just a myth." "Not anymore," Zarek replied, his gaze steely. "Prepare to board." The boarding party assembled at the airlock, weapons ready. Their faces were set with grim determination, though fear lurked in their eyes. What awaited them inside was a mystery, one that could reshape their understanding of the galaxy. With a hiss, the airlock opened, and they stepped into the derelict ship. The air was stale, heavy with the scent of decay and machinery long dormant. The corridors were narrow, lined with strange conduits and machinery that seemed alien yet familiar. Signs of battle were everywhere. Scorch marks marred the walls, and twisted metal suggested explosions and desperate fighting. The deeper they ventured, the more unnerving it became. There were no bodies, only the echoes of a silent catastrophe. "Keep moving," Zarek urged, leading the way through the darkened halls. Their flashlights cut through the gloom, revealing broken beams and tangled wires. Then they reached a large chamber at the heart of the ship. Zarek stopped, his eyes widening at the sight before him. In the center of the room was a massive glass chamber filled with a luminous blue liquid, and inside the chamber floated a figure. "Is that a human?" one of the crew members gasped. The figure was humanoid, but larger, more muscular than what the legends described. It wore an armored suit that seemed to merge with its body, its face hidden behind a mask of intricate design. Yet, the faint glow of life emanating from the chamber made it clear. It was alive. Zarek approached cautiously, his gaze fixed on the inscriptions carved into the chamber's base. Symbols that matched the ancient human languages. He turned to Lyra. "Translate this." Lyra stepped forward, her eyes darting across the symbols. Her voice trembled as she read aloud. "Here lies the last of the Guardians. He who sleeps will awaken upon the universe's darkest hour. Beware the wrath of humanity reborn." The words sent chills down their spines. Zarek stared at the figure within the chamber, his mind racing. The legends spoke of humans as fierce warriors, conquerors of worlds. Could this be one of them? And if so, why was it here, entombed in the depths of space? "We need to know," Zarek said, his voice barely a whisper. "Open the chamber." The crew hesitated, fear and curiosity warring within them. Then, with a nod, they activated the release mechanism. The chamber hissed as the liquid drained away, and the glass slowly slid open. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the figure moved. It was subtle at first, a twitch of the hand, a tilt of the head. And then, its eyes snapped open, glowing with an unnatural light that pierced the darkness. The crew stepped back, their hearts pounding. "You?" The figure's voice was deep, resonant, carrying an authority that commanded attention. "You dare awaken me?" Zarek swallowed, forcing himself to meet the being's gaze. "Who are you?" The figure stepped forward, towering over them. "I am the Guardian, the last remnant of humanity's fury. We were betrayed, hunted, and forgotten by the galaxy. But we did not vanish. We prepared. And now you have awakened me. The galaxy will once again feel the wrath of humans." The air around them seemed to vibrate with the power emanating from the Guardian. Zarek's mind raced. This was no mere relic of the past. This was a force of nature, a weapon forged in the fires of humanity's will to survive. "You can't possibly believe that you can take on the entire galaxy," Zarek challenged, though his voice betrayed a hint of uncertainty. "The Federation, the alliances of countless worlds. They won't bow to a legend." The Guardian's eyes glowed brighter, a chilling smile forming beneath his mask. "Legend? No, I am reality. I am the embodiment of humanity's rage, their indomitable spirit. And now, the galaxy will remember why it once feared us." Suddenly, the ship shuddered. Alarms blared as the derelict around them came to life, ancient systems powering up with a roar that echoed through the corridors. The Guardian raised his hand, and the crew of the Astral Gaze watched in horror as the ship's control panels began to light up, displaying data in ancient human script. "Captain, look!" Lyra shouted, pointing at the view screen. Outside, in the void of space, lights flickered, shadows moved, and as they watched, an armada of colossal warships emerged from the darkness. Zarek's breath caught in his throat. The ships were vast, far larger than anything in the current galactic fleets, their designs sleek yet brutal, bearing the unmistakable mark of human engineering. Weapons systems glowed ominously, casting a red hue over the fleet. These ships," Zarek stammered. "They were here all along?" The Guardian turned to face him, his expression one of grim satisfaction. Humanity does not forget. We do not forgive. For centuries, we have waited in the shadows, preparing for the moment when the galaxy would dare to challenge us again. You have awakened the storm, Captain. Now witness its fury. Zarek's heart pounded as he stared at the warships aligning information. The entire fleet responded to the Guardian's presence, moving with an eerie precision. It was as if they were extensions of his will, ready to unleash their wrath upon the universe. Captain, what do we do? Lyra's voice was tight with fear. The rest of the crew looked to Zarek, their eyes wide with terror. The legends they had dismissed as myths were now a terrifying reality. We warn the Federation, Zarek replied, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. We have to prepare for what's coming. The Guardian watched them with an amused glint in his eyes. Run, little captain. Spread the word. Tell your galaxy that the time of legends has ended. Now begins the reign of reality. The reign of humanity. The Astral Gaze retreated, engines burning as they fled the derelict ship and its formidable fleet. Zarek stood on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the view screen. The warships behind them loomed like shadows of doom, their cannons glowing with the promise of destruction. They were leaving, but the knowledge they carried was a burden heavier than any cargo. As they sped through the darkness, Zarek couldn't shake the words of the Guardian. The universe was on the brink of war, and humanity, once thought to be extinct, was at the heart of it. The legends had spoken of humans as conquerors, survivors who could adapt to any threat. And now they had returned, bringing with them a wrath that could reshape the cosmos. For hours, the crew worked in silence, their minds struggling to grasp the enormity of what they had witnessed. Zarek stood by the viewport, his thoughts racing. He had seen many wonders in his life, ventured into the unknown time and time again. But this was different. This was a threat that defied understanding. What if they can't be stopped? Lyra asked quietly, breaking the silence. What if humanity is truly unstoppable? Zarek turned to face her, his eyes hard. Then we do what we always do. We fight. We survive. The galaxy has faced extinction before. We will face it again. The Guardian may think he represents the wrath of humans, but he's forgotten one thing. Lyra frowned, confusion marring her features. And what's that? Zarek's lips curved into a grim smile. Humanity isn't just rage. It's hope, it's resilience, it's unity. And if they think they can conquer the galaxy alone, then they'll learn what it means to face a united front. We don't need legends. We have each other. Outside, the darkness of space stretched on, vast and indifferent. But within that darkness, the fires of a new conflict were being lit. The return of humanity was not the end of the story. It was only the beginning.